focus into the bot lane, and we've never seen them done that. You know, this is them being forced into a corner and having to reinvent themselves. So I want to give them a really low number, and as a play-by-play, then announce it as Estar's doing the impossible. You know, that's what play-by-plays do, you know? We have to get that overhyped drama and those narratives that are completely driven by broadcast.
It's like when Hysterics said that LGD were going to win Worlds. I got it, man. I got it.
You also said IG was going to win Worlds, and they didn't even get past LGD.
Hey, to be fair, before 2020 playoffs, summer playoffs, that actually seemed realistic.
To be fair, that is honest. That is a good point. They were 8-0 with Botland, and then they crashed and burned in postseason like they always do. But coming back into this game, we're going to be taking a look at the runes. It is going to be the Dark Harvest. This is one of Bo's favorites right here. We do see a lot of phase rushes as well, but he really prefers the Dark Harvest. And early on in the laning phase, we did see E-Stars gather into the top side and make sure they cleared away the early Raptor ward. So Hacker is not going to be figured out on where he is actually starting.
I've been just going to do that top side clear. An interesting thing I want to hit on is the fact that Set in mid now does take the fleet footwork. If you remember when he was a meta kind of standard last season, he would always take phase rush. But Set actually did take a lot of nerfs in the middle and towards the end of the 2020 season. And that's why we started to see him fall out of the meta bit, especially in the soul lanes. I think his base health got reduced, the AD ratios, his Haymaker base damage got reduced, just a ton of things that made him very hard to play in these soul lanes, and now he really does need to sustain from that fleet footwork to go toe-to-toe with a lot of these ranged matchups.
And I do want to get your opinion on this Set build, because he is running with Ghost as well, and just checking, but only 5% of sets actually take Ghost. So what do you think about this summoner choice?
Whenever it comes to Doinby, anything that just helps him be able to go in more all-in, right? Things like the Predator on a lot of the champions he plays, like along the lines of the Rumble. I'm just not too surprised. They do have a composition that does just want to go headfirst into the enemy team anyway, right? You have the Renekton, you have the Alistar, so I think it makes sense with Doinby's playstyle of the fact that we know he's going to want to get out of this lane early. He's going to want to go help Bo, maybe play towards that top side early on before helping LWS and Chris down in the bot lane. And he's always going to be able to function as a primary engager for the side of FPX.
Go fast or go last. That's kind of the Doinby motto. We are seeing E-Stars winning out on the bot side pretty heavily.
It is nice to see. This wasn't what we expected. And again, this isn't a matchup we've seen all too much. We have had it a few times, but Samir are going to have a nice time in this laning phase. But FPX, we know what their composition. It's all about topside, right? The split map is probably going to come out as we see Bo go towards the mid lane. And
Irma's really low HP. Has to use a cleanse to get out of this one, but he might be falling down right here. Oh, he finally gets the shield onto himself, so he's going to stay alive. They're a very close situation, which I honestly thought he was dead.
I also like that Bo didn't flash aggressively, because he potentially could have, right? But yeah. I think at that time, Chelsea wasn't showing on in lane, so they didn't have knowledge from Fog of War. So Bo respecting, he got the lane pressure for Doinby. That's all you needed. It is a bit of a win because you think about it right now, Irma will be missing it on EXP and gold in the mid lane, assuming Doinby is able to force this one in.
And Chelsea stands his ground, gets a bit of a stun onto Crisp, and actually wins out on that trade. And as you were talking about, in terms of mid lane, Rat actually just going in directly. He's going to get the WQ combo onto himself and lose a huge chunk of HP. Trying to go for that trade. Kind of an interesting one.
Just both supports having the tankiness and early base damage to just kind of go back and forth with these handshake trades. Interestingly enough, we're seeing Hacker play Invade on the top side jungle with the fact that Irma did get that reset off and now does have Prio in the mid lane.
Bo did see that Swirl Seed, so he's going to try and play the ambush on the Invader. Doesn't really find that one. It looks like Hacker is going to be able to walk out. He could have potentially been 3-man surrounded right there. Does find the exit route.
Yep, Lilia very good at those kind of invades, right? You kind of just get in, you try to drive by, take the camp, and get out with the movement speed you do get from the passive of, you know, hitting camps or enemy champions. With the fact that Nuguri was pushed in, he didn't want to risk a potential collapse, despite the fact that Taliyah is quite hard to play in those 1v1 duels, right? Because if you do miss the seismic shove, a lot of your combo is just outright missed. It is very easy for Lilia to dodge out as well with that movement speed.
Yep, but is able to get out onto this one, and you know, I've always found it kind of interesting, but so far it doesn't seem like we have seen the sort of Moonstaff combination come out from the LPL Lilias. Kind of want to get your take on that one, and if it will become the mainstay, because, you know, statistically it does look like, just on paper, it just feels like the superior build.
I think it's a superior build, probably in like 9 out of 10 cases, Clement. But me and you actually had this conversation right before broadcast. And my intuition is, having worked on teams for so long, that it's about feel for a lot of these pro players. I'd say especially outside of the West, where the West is getting a lot of these analysts who are, you know, actually do the math that we don't really have in the likes of like PCS, LMS, LPL. You can't feel all the raw healing you're getting out of that kind of build.
Crisp goes in for the combo. Xiaoxi does have to flash out, but can't get out of the seismic shove. This looks like it's going to be first blood over to FPX. A very long wait on the side of Bo, but they're able to close out the kill. Now we do have Hacker going in as well, trying to make sure that Rat can pick up this wave. In the meantime, Nuguri is going to use his ultimate. ZS still holding on to his here. And we do see Nuguri with a very sizable CS lead and a turret plating to go, just completely 1v1ing ZS here.
And it goes along with the build that ZS is gone. Typically, if you want to be able to contest Connect in an early laning phase as the Ornn, you would say, hey, I don't really care about the Bomby Cinder. I'm going to go plated Steel Caps and Bramble Vest and only play for my lane. Instead, he's trying to get that faster team power spike. But we're going to go into the replay. Really nice Headbutt Pulverized combo coming out from Crisp. He is able to lock Xiaoxi down with that E, which sets up the seismic shove into the full Taliyah combo. And then the nice Condemn coming out from Vayne. Just a really nice chain CC coming out from the side of FPX. And looking at FPX's comp, you have so much lockdown to set up for all this Taliyah damage. It must feel so good for Bo to play this champion right now.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they're trying to make him a main carry, as we see Xiaoxi now heading into the top side. This is going to be a 3v1. Nuguri with the Spidey senses does drop the ward down, but Estars are still going to go in. Nuguri actually dodges out on the ultimate, but still going to fall down. Nothing much he can do or outplay here in this situation. FPX do have the cavalry running in. Doinby already with the flash pop. He's going to try and find some comeback kills. Bo is stunned up, but he still finds the kill here. Hacker still doing a lot of damage. It looks like he might be able to take the Taliyah down, and with Irma arriving on the scene, they're going to make this a 4v3 overall, but in the meantime, LWX is going to get a PvE scenario. Nobody really heading into this bottom side, so looks like Estars are going to get a kill and 2 kills, excuse me, and the Herald on the top side, while giving up a lot of gold on the bottom.
I really like that sequence of plays coming out from Estar, though, Clement. We saw Xiaoxi, after he died, out of base, realize, hey, ooh, I'm going to pause.
But Rat actually goes a little bit too close to the Crocodile, as Nuguri does teleport onto the scene. I'm not sure who got the Herald just yet. Doinby is still in the thick of things, and the fight is not over just yet. Bo used his combo, didn't find the target, but he might be able to get Irma. Irma has to flash out of the Q here, and things do look like they sort of simmer down, but through all of this, LWX gets more time on that tower.
Yeah, the whole sequence of the past 2 minutes have just benefited the side of FPX. LWX not sharing EXP, not sharing gold, getting everything to himself, while Estar are all sharing resources. They did get the kills, and they did get the Herald, so it is a bit of a silver lining. But going back in time, assuming we aren't going to get some kind of pop-out action, for Estar, they were losing the both bot 2v2 and the top side 1v1. So after Xiaoxi went down, we saw him realize, hey, we're going to give up resources on a bot, overload the top side of the map to get the kill onto Nuguri. Doinby didn't take TP, so they actually don't have a way of responding to the dive. And then for FPX, they just get greedy. They think they can force it. Irma actually has Unsealed Spellbook, was able to match the TP, and they win out big. So luckily, it was kind of able to get something back for their bot lane losing out so much. But FPX, they kind of keep ramming their face into the wall, and they are able